Greetings, investigators. My name is Detective Sins, and welcome to another installment of Synopsins. Today we're covering a horror movie from 2010 titled Rubber. Watch out for spoilers, and let's get into the video. At the start of the film, we see a figure we refer to as the accountant who appears to be waiting for someone. A group of spectators gathered behind the accountant to watch a movie. Lieutenant Chad enters and explains that in every classic film, something will happen to the character for no reason, that life is full of no reason, and that this movie happens for no reason. After Chad leaves, the accountant begins to distribute binoculars so that others can watch the live movie from a distance. The spectators are only shown the bareness of the California desert for a short time. The movie begins with a tire that comes to life out of nowhere. The tire tries to roll after coming out of the sand, but it always falls. If this was an attempt to visualize a metaphor for always getting back up when life knocks you down, I'd say my only criticism is that they could have picked a better approach, but hey, that's just me. The tire finally manages to roll down after multiple attempts. The tire runs over every piece of trash or animal it finds until it can no longer do so. The tire then tries to focus its mind, which causes its body to vibrate, shattering the glass bottle. Not only does the tire have consciousness, but the tire appears to have psychokinetic skills because a self-aware tire isn't bizarre enough. For those of you wondering, psychokinesis is the power of the mind over matter. Think of it as Star Wars The Force, but without you needing to wave your hand like you're trying to grab the attention of a passing taxi driver. The accountant arrives the next day to wake up the spectators who had fallen asleep in the middle of the desert. The movie resumes after they have all awakened. When the tire comes to a halt for a drink, I know, don't question it, it notices a rabbit. With its skills, the tire tries to blow the rabbit up and the rabbit head explodes. When the tire gets to the side of the road, it notices a woman, Sheila, driving by. It attempts to use its powers once more, but all it manages to do is switch off Sheila's car engine. That being said, I have no idea what it wanted to use its powers for in the first place. As the tire rolls and approaches Sheila's car, a truck comes out of nowhere and smashes the tire. Sheila manages to start the car, fearing that the truck driver attempted to assault her. The truck driver stops for gas and notices the tire beside him, oblivious to the mighty powers it possesses. The tire, angered by the man's actions, decides that fireworks are in order, and so it did set fireworks, a bloody one. The tire quietly follows Sheila, who has arrived at a motel. The tire peeks at Sheila, who is taking a shower from the unlocked bedroom. The tire isn't the only one watching. The spectators are also treated to this beautiful view. Alright, let's pause here for a moment. The tire has no eyes, yet it could sense its surroundings perfectly. However, not only does this tire have delayed reaction time, but it also needs to snoop around like a common pervert. What's the tire gonna do? Pop a psychic boner and rub its celestial dick to a woman it just met? The fuck? That's a sin if I've ever seen one. The tire enters the room next to Sheila that night. The tire sits on the sofa like an old guy with a bloated stomach, watching various shows on TV that are full of sexy women. The accountant receives a call from the master in another room. During that conversation, the accountant promises that he will accomplish something without making any mistakes the next morning. After the call ended, he picks up knives and slaughters the turkey that has been in his room. They're really driving home the idea that nothing has to make sense, huh? The next day, the accountant wakes the spectators while giving them a cooked turkey. The spectators turned to savages and fought for the turkey presented to them. All but one spectator, a wheelchair-bound man, struggled to get a piece of the turkey. Whether by chance or instinct, the wheelchaired spectator didn't eat the turkey. After the turkey was finished, the rest of the spectators felt their stomach burning, and that was the end of their journey. All but one spectator died, or rather, nonsensical death. Shifting the scene once again to the motel, we're introduced to a housekeeper, Martina. She enters the tire's room to clean it up. She is annoyed when she sees the spoiled bed. Martina hears the sound of the shower, so she goes into the bathroom and turns it off, unknowingly walking into the tire while it's apparently showering. Martina throws the tire out of the room and starts to continue her activities. This isn't so much of a sin, but more of an incredibly huge plot hole that bothers me quite a lot. Let's analyze this real quick. How did the tire go to the motel room in the first place? It's not through a receptionist, that's for sure. This begs the question as to why the housekeeper went in the room in the first place. A housekeeper usually comes in to tidy the place up after somebody checks out of the accommodation. I don't think the housekeeper knew that the tire was there in the first place, so why did she come in? Either this motel is very thorough, or Martina is a piece of shit that doesn't respect anyone's privacy. Anyways, let's have a quiz. The tire is obviously pissed. I'd be pissed if I was thrown out mid-shower. So here's the question. What do you think the tire will do? Come on, guess. It's really not that hard. We've seen it a couple of times already. Yup, you're correct. It blew her brains out, and not in a good way. The tire re-enters the room. A young boy named Zach watches this entire scene unfold, then tells his father, Hughes. Hughes, on the other hand, thinks it's all in Zach's head and instructs him to go out and buy him pizza instead. The tire appears a little distressed and wants to clear its mind after killing Martina. Of course, I'm only assuming based on context due to the lack of facial expression in the first place. The tire secretly observes Sheila as she swims, and the tire drowns itself after Sheila exits the pool. Out of Zach's curiosity, he checks the room that the tire has entered. When he discovers Martina's corpse laying on the floor without a head, he lost his fucking mind. Chad, the sheriff who first appears in the movie, arrives to investigate the murder. Zach claims that a tire murdered Martina. This frustrates Hughes because he thinks that his son is a complete nutcase. Then again, I don't blame him. It's easier to believe the conspiracy theory that Elon Musk is an alien who's working together with the lizard man himself, Mark Zuckerberg, to colonize Earth with their superior intellect. Hughes, who is already irritated, recklessly throws the tire away. Big mistake. Chad continues the investigation by asking some questions. According to Hughes' response, he and Martina had a good relationship, like a boss and worker kind. Chad then stops and says, "It's been 6 hours and the poison has had time to affect." What? Hughes has no idea what Chad is talking about. Chad approaches the other sheriffs and encourages them to stop their acting. Chad tells them that their work is finished and that they should stop acting like the movie is their real life. However, due to Martina's real corpse, they refuse to go back home. Chad insists that everything is fake and only a setup for the movie. Are you confused? Because I definitely am. The accountant is aware that the man in the wheelchair is unharmed by the poison. The accountant then tells Chad, who turns out to be his master, that Chad must continue their acting. Chad instructs the other sheriffs to care for Martina's body and to forget what he said earlier. Chad continues his so-called investigation by returning to Hughes, who is still in the pool. The tire regains its consciousness, as if it was possible for it to lose consciousness in the first place, and blows Hughes' head off. When Chad witnesses it with his own eyes, he trusts Zach's words. Chad orders the other sheriffs to find the tire as soon as possible. Zach informs them of the tire's location and the sheriffs chase it. My only criticism with this scene, like I have with other horror movies, is the incredibly unrealistic expectation that characters get over people's death that quickly. The accountant attempts to poison the man in the wheelchair with fine dishes. The man, who is aware that the food is poisonous, continues to reject the accountant's offer. Stupidly, the accountant eats all of the dishes by himself and he died as a result of food poisoning. Why? You have a knife and he's the only one there, not to mention he's crippled. Go take the knife and do to him what you did to the turkey. While avoiding the cops, the tire comes across a group of people who are burning a huge pile of used tires. Apparently, the tire can only blow someone's head one at a time. The scene then takes us to 3 days later when nearly everyone in the city is headless. The sheriffs discover that the tire is watching TV at a house after it killed the house owner. Chad drives straight to the house after being informed of the tire's location. The sheriff set up a mannequin with a bomb in the hopes that if the tire blows up the mannequin's head, the tire will be killed by the bomb as well. The bomb, unfortunately, does not explode when the tire blows up the mannequin's head. The man in the wheelchair approaches Chad and requests that the video be sped up. Chad, enraged, shoots and kills the tire with a shotgun before tossing it over to the man in the wheelchair. The tire, however, has been reincarnated as a tricycle, which then kills the man in the wheelchair. The film ends as the tricycle begins rolling down the road with other tires that it finds on the road to Hollywood. All in all, was this a good movie? Meh. Was this enjoyable to watch? Yes. Would I recommend this to anyone? No. The entire premise of this movie is coming out of left field, and I just can't accept their excuse of, oh, everything happens for no reason. Sure, some things don't need a reason, but hello? Don't waste my time. This movie could have been concluded in 5 minutes if somebody had discarded the tire properly in the first place, or I don't know, recycle it? So yeah, that's the moral of this movie. Please recycle your tires, or they might just come alive and blow your head. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, go ahead and click that like button down below. Subscribe if you want to see more content just like this, and ring that bell to get notified whenever we post a new video. So investigators, you are dismissed.